Hello and welcome to the first Utopia Planitia of the new year. Say Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I have with me Ed's evil twin.
Hello.
Hello. And Ain.
You count down, but you never hit 0. So I don't know if is the countdown still going? It's just a very slow count from 1 to 0, or
Well, if it's
We're
really
already in.
toned down, it will stop at 1.
We're already in the new year,
I
man.
guess 0 is when you hit stop recording.
Yes.
Which would be 1.
And Just Steve could not be with us tonight due to a power outage from a winter storm in his area. We're all sad. Okay. So moving on, we have with us tonight, for us tonight, where is it? Oh yeah, a Fleet Manticore. Whoops. So we have a Fleet Manticore heavy destroyer build. Alright, so let's take a look at the starship. Whew. Well, he's using cannons, which he didn't choose bad cannons. He's got Crit D3 pens, which are not terrible. So. And it looks like he's got that all across the board. Pretty close. He's got a couple one-offs, but it's not terrible, not bad. But those aft weapons, oh my goodness.
I think, all our attention was drawn to those at the start.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
They make me cry.
They do.
And it's sad.
Now he's got the turret, which is fine. And the kinetic cutting beam, if you need it for the bonus with the assimilated module, sure. But that omnidirectional. Okay, so the reason we're getting over here, if you're gonna go cannons all the way. And that means your aft weapons should be turrets.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so so for the crowd, so we're gonna clear that slot and we're gonna copy the turret.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so cutting beam, what do we think? Keep or lose, because he does have the assimilated model.
Yeah, I'm going to come to that later. I would actually say lose it.
Okay, your thoughts, Zane?
I'll wait and see what he has to say on that.
Okay. Well, I'm thinking lose it as well, because, well, actually, let's look at the traits for a second here. He's got supremacy. He has the leech. So, with those two, you don't really need the extra bonus from the assimilated module and cutting beam combo. So with that being said, I would clear this and copy the turret. Okay, so I would put all 3 turrets back there and just lose the 2 omnis completely. He does have the Iconian set. Looks like he's gotten most of it to 14 ultra rare, with 1 being epic. With the shields, not bad at all. So we'll keep that, of course, because that is very good for DPS. Alright. So, devices, I don't have a problem with. He's got the Temporal Negotiator to reduce cooldowns in a pinch. He's got the energy amplifier to give him some extra energy or extra kick on his energy weapons. And he's got the subspace field modulator as a no shit button. Any thoughts on those?
Yes, but I'll come to it a little bit later on when we actually look at the
rest. Okay. All right. So
skills and things.
Okay. So console. All right, Ned, you were saying you wanted to ditch the assimilated module, which I agree with.
Yep. And also the 0 point.
And the 0 point, I can see why.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
The gains that you actually get on the crit from those two, yes, all right, it does give you a modest boost, but in real terms, when you actually equate it over the match, it's not that great a boost.
Yeah.
That would then free up those slots to move the bioneural infusion back up. Now, the DTS console is the one that actually comes with the ship, and it allows you to drop it into tactical mode or the defensive mode. So in tactical mode, you do get some bonuses.
Right.
So I can see why that's been left there. But it's one of those ones where you could technically drop it out and run. It can be situational. A lot of players actually put it on there and forget that they've got it. And then, oh yeah, I've got that. Halfway through and I say activate it. So it's a question of which mode does he use it in? Does he switch between the two? Does he rely on it? So it's one of those ones you can leave in, you can take out, not using it. But I want to free up those science slots, and I think everyone knows why I want to free them up, as I want to put in plasma consoles.
Yes.
I think you'll get a bigger bang for your buck. A couple of plasma consoles in there, you'll get a bigger bang for your buck than having the 2 crit consoles and those ones that are lower down. With that DTS, I would actually be in favour of ditching that for either a tachykinetic or probably a tachykinetic if it's available, because he's got the RCS EPS. So we don't need to stock up on an EPS. It depends whether that's in reach or not. You're thinking about it, the extra crit severity versus the damage bonus, they're probably within a ballpark figure of each other.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Alright, so we want to put plasma generating weapon signature nullifier. Alright. And let's do this one. Equip item, and which mod do we want on it? We want flow, which would be Drainix. There we go. Drainix, yay. Okay, and copy. So this gives us Drainix. That's going to help him with the plasmonic leech, which cannons tend to drain a little more power. So that's actually going to be helpful. And of course, with the plasma generating weapon signature nullifiers, that's going to proc quite nicely for those. And then, go ahead.
So we're going to mention it later as well, but he does have emergency weapon cycle as well, so that will help with that drain.
Yes, it will. Okay, and then of course the vulnerability locators are perfectly fine. I have no issue with those. I don't think any of us do.
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
No issue.
Alright, so let's take a look at the bridge officer skill. Okay. So this is one of the reasons for clearing up those beams, because now we can get rid of this beam fire at will 3, which was using up a bridge officer trait for 1 weapon. Yeah. Alright, so in the commander slot here, I would actually put Cannon Scatter Volley 3, because that's going to give him the most bang for his buck there.
Yep.
And then I would change the Fire at Will 3 to a Scatter Volley 2. And then I would change one of these Scatter Volley 1s to an Attack Pattern Beta 1. And then I would actually put... I would probably change the Chemosite 1 to a Chemosite 2. Or actually keep the Chemosite 1 and put a Chemosite 2 in there as well. And that way you're doubling everything up.
Then there's also an argument, instead of using a Scatter Volley 2, dropping in a second copy of Beta 2 and leaving a Cannon Scatter Volley 1, because what you're weighing up is the debuff from the improved debuff from the Beta 2 and the Scatter 1 combo versus the Scatter 2 combo and the Beta 1 debuff.
This is true. What are your thoughts? Sorry.
I'm gonna have to agree with Ed here.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're doubling up, I would double up the attack pattern to make it equal, because that way then you're guaranteed of having global on one of them.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Alright, and Scatter Volley 1. Alright. And then, what are your thoughts on doubling up the Chemosite?
Yeah, I quite like that.
Same. Double it up, double it up, double it up.
Double it up, double it up.
If you can do 2 Chemosite 1s and then change that, one of those Scatter Volleys to attack team 2. There's a little bit of a thought there. Yeah, so you end up with the two same Chemosites. Just from a synchronicity point, or sorry, not synchronicity, symmetrical point of view, so you are balanced. You can do it that way.
True.
Depends how much OCD you've got on the build.
I would think the Chemosite would do more. Chemosite 2 would do a bit more radiation damage and give a stronger debuff.
It would indeed.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you were doing an OCD,
if you're
build,
OCD,
it can be done.
Okay.
Some of us might have that.
Yeah, some of us might. Okay. The engineering skills. The Ensign Universal, being an engineer, I do not have a problem with. He's got his emergency power to weapons 1, which is fine. And then on the engineering / command, he's got, while he's not utilizing any of the command skills, I am okay with this setup. If he doesn't want to utilize the command skills, that's fine with me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And I've taken a quick look at his traits. He's good.
Okay.
He's good for that.
And so yeah, he's got the double up on the emergency power to weapons. That keeps his emergency weapon cycle up, or that keeps these up at 100% of the time, and means that emergency weapon cycle is always active, so he doesn't have as much drain from his cannons. And then he's got the... Go ahead.
To interrupt here, do you reckon that he's using the emergency... I mean, I know he's using it to proc the emergency weapon cycle, but why 3 on 1? Is he doing it because he wants that extra power? And the little boost that it gives? What would there be an advantage from dropping it down to emergency powder weapons 2 and up in the Ox to Sift 2 for a better hull hill? If he's using it just to proc emergency weapon cycle, there's no reason why he's got it at 3.
That's a good point.
We could drop that down and give a better hill.
We could.
Because obviously, if he's doing more DPS, he's going to be a little bit more aggro. He's going to need to be able to survive a bit more. That might help out.
I can see that. I could see doing that. Alright, Emergency power to weapons 2. And Ox to Sif.
I mean, you do get a small damage bonus from emergency power
Yeah.
weapons. The difference between 2 and 3, what is it? 3 points, 9 points. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Right.
But
It's
if you're
not a
going
lot.
solely
Let's
just
look.
to get the boost,
Let's take a look. Skills, okay. So emergency power to weapons 3 is plus 16.6 all energy damage for 30 seconds. Emergency power to weapons 2 is plus 13.3.
you're losing 3 roughly.
Yeah.
It's not that great amount in real terms. I mean, yeah, in
Right.
a DPS run, it might equate to maybe 500 to maybe 1,000 DPS, but yeah, if difference between that and the hull hill and actually being able to utilize that extra DPS, as
Yeah.
we say, when you're dead, you can't kill.
Yep,
Get DPS.
exactly. When you're dead, you can't DPS. And we're talking about 7.5 in the power, so it's not that much of a
Very
difference
true.
either, yeah. So, yeah, when
And
you
the thing
look
is,
at
with
it,
it, there's no override subsistence safety on there anyway, so he is going
right.
to push that straight to 125 max. And that little bit extra, yes, it is going to fall over into that reserve pool, but it's a small amount. And if it's triggering an emergency weapon cycle, you're not going to notice.
Yeah, you're probably not going to notice it. Okay, and then of course we have Engineering Team 1, which is very nice. Little heal. And then the beauty of Oxysif 2 is the fast cooldown. We're talking 15 seconds. And it's fairly strong hull heal. And with everything else he's running, nothing's going to cool down or interfere with that. So that is an awesome trait for this. And then the Lieutenant Science Team 1, and Hazard Emitters 2, no problem with that.
Yeah, I'm fine with that as well.
Yeah. Alright, let's check out the duty officers.
Right, before we do move on from the
Go ahead.
officers, I'm going to throw a little bit of a spanner in the works. There's a little bit of suggestions to what you can do on this build, which is something that I did. Keeping everything virtually the same as it is, except you do have
Alex
to pay for your
timed out
nodes, and
from
you do need
Teacher's
to get a
Corner.
ZMOC. And you run with the one Commander Tactical Officer. And that Commander Tactical
Sound
has
muted.
your tactical team,
Sound
he has
muted.
your Keeper Sight, he has your Fire at Will 3, and he has your Beta 3. And then you drop a Science Officer into the Universal Lieutenant Commander slot so you can get yourself your Gravwell, you can get yourself your Polarized Hull, and you can get maybe a tractor beam repulsors in there as well. So you can. This is the beauty of the vet ships. They are so edible. It will take a beautiful engineering build. If you want to go, it's an engineering tank, and you're capable of running most of your tactical skills at global cooldown. You'll be able to do so much with this because that universal lieutenant commander slot will then take your extra engineer, it will take your extra science,
Yeah.
and in this case we've got the tack in there. But yeah, it does make a formidable science ship.
Yeah,
Obviously minus the sensor analysis.
Mm-hmm.
I've flew it on my science main for a while, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Quite maneuverable. If you can get around what we'll say are the ugly looks, I quite like it. Yeah, it's a nice ship. Anyway,
and it does make,
that's that spanner there.
and as Odin has proven, and I use it as well for my my torpedo boats on my Fed, it makes a amazing torpedo boat.
Oh yeah, the amazing
Yeah.
torpedo boat that's equipped with nothing but crystalline anti-proton torpedoes.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely
Best clip
brilliant.
in the game.
Vapes everything.
Okay.
It's almost like the ship was built to be a torpedo boat.
Next week
don't
we'll be
generate
doing a
comments,
Beams on a
nothing
Fate
will.
build.
Ooh.
Do it.
No,
Well,
We're gonna have
actually,
some
not
very
really.
nasty
one.
comments on this one.
I do have a Beams on a Fate build with a plasma setup to make use of
Oh, you would.
everything with it. Yeah.
Okay. All right, duty officers. He has 3. It looks like. Okay. So
Yeah,
damage control engineer.
that's why I said there was supposed
Yeah.
to be room for Zemox in there.
Yeah, there would be. So now I want to point out because he has 2 copies of emergency power to weapons, this damage control engineer is wasted. There's absolutely no need for it because it has 100% uptime already just by having 2 copies.
Yep. The other one as well is I'm going to throw in on
Yep.
the actual notes. He does have 3 of the officers that stack the crit.
Okay.
So yeah, they're just not actually in this part of the roster. So if
Okay.
we include them as well,
Okay. So that's.
I thought I'd take a peek at the
I'm
notes.
wondering if those are. So those are energy weapon.
Yeah, severity ones. Those that I hope it's probably changed by now.
Let's see if we can find them here. I don't believe they have those particular. Nope, they don't.
Probably why they're not on the build yet.
That's why you didn't put it on. Yep.
Yeah, it's
Yep,
a lot of
that
hard
would
work
be
for
why.
these guys to
Yep,
maintain this
it
site,
is.
and we're grateful to them for doing it.
Alright, so 3 of the crit severity buffs or doffs. Recharge time reduced for tactical team and buff. That's 2 of them. So that makes up the. That's why he's got only 1 copy of tactical team. You can do that with 2 of these duty officers. And then, so with the damage with the other duty officer we removed, that would make 6. So what do we recommend for his 6th duty officer since we took that one off?
Mm-hmm.
The damage control engine.
Well, this is where I was going to get earlier on. There's a choice of 2 that I would consider.
Uh-huh.
We could, even with 1 Zemoc, very expensive, play havoc with that beta cooldown. The other one that I'm tempted to suggest is one of the old personal favourites, and it's the Tholian off, one of the warfare specialists. Delirene gives you 10% bonus damage against the ball because he's going to be passing an ISA. So why
This
not
is
give
true.
him a 10% damage bonus?
This
And
is
they are
true.
quite cheap on the exchange now. I think at one point they were down as low as 4 million, but now they're around about the 8 million mark. But a little tip,
Okay.
there's not many officers that do drop from the Tholian reward packs. So if you do get some of the Tholian officer packs and open 1 or 2, there's a very strong chance that you will get the Delirene. There's also a ground specialist that does the same, and one that's for the Tholians that I use in Crystalline after the Gravity Well. Because, yeah, all those Tholians get affected by that 1 doff and 10% damage against them. So yeah, have a look at Warfare Specialist, guys, and you'll see that, if you've got that redundant doff slot, you can drop them in. They're always good little bonuses.
It's always a nice thing to do. Always get a bit of a bonus with that. If you can't find a decent priced one, you could always. He's using batteries or the energy weapon
Yep.
amplifier, so he could always go for put in an exocomp.
Yep.
In there.
Or if you haven't got that yet, you can get access to an officer called Torosek, Torosek, who does the exact same thing. About 4 to 6 mil on the exchange, maybe cheaper now.
Yep. And of course, the other option would be a quartermaster that reduces the cooldown of the battery.
And the other good thing with Torosek is they stack. So if you have more than 1 slot, you can go up to 3.
Yes, exactly.
And I don't know whether it's changed, but I think that officer as well also has an unwritten effect on the newer batteries, the energy amplifiers, the particle floods. Not only does it give you a 2.5 to all power, it also gives you a small boost to the actual battery as well when you've got the officer on.
Yes.
So I think it's again 2.5% to the actual skill. So where it says, say it says 10% digi damage or 25% whatever it is on the actual battery,
Yes, it does. Which
And that's
is
Cat
awesome.
1.5, not Cat 1 battery itself. So take advantage of it.
hmm
I
Okay,
do.
moving on to the skills. Space skills. He looks pretty balanced here. Looks like he's going for a bit of survivability. I'm really not seeing anything terrible. He's got his 2 points in EPS. He didn't go for control expertise. No need to with this build. He did go for accuracy. But some could argue with cannons you need it.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can argue that. I would knock back 1 point on Lieutenant Science. Take them both down to 2.
On the
And
lieutenant side.
also,
Okay.
yeah, the engineering, the advanced hull capacity, knock that back down to 2. Mainly because there's such a small difference between 2 and 3 at that level.
hmm
I would probably take back field hardness at commander. Probably just the 1 point. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to actually do it so as you can actually get closer towards the attack ultimate with the cannons.
Oh, okay. I see what you're doing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the scatter
yeah.
volley with a frenzy.
Oh, that would be nice.
It would be very nice, and it would be a really nice boost. And then if you could also incorporate, I mean, I wouldn't go for the coordination protocols, and I know tactical red. I don't know whether they fixed that yet. I've heard nothing. The readiness wasn't working. But
That's what I've heard. I haven't seen
yeah.
anything that shows that it's working now.
And then the other one that I would take out would be the improved warp core potential, because we discussed you get the more of a bonus from the warp core efficiency. You're sort of wasting a point there.
Yeah,
I mean,
I can see that.
that then gives us 1, 2, 3,
That gives us 5.
5. So that's 20. And he's not going to get close to it.
Yeah, he's not gonna. Well, I mean, you can
Without
take out. There's
sacrificing.
nothing here that's draining. So
Well,
you
there's
could
the
take out the
leech.
drain infection. The leech
Yeah,
doesn't trigger drain infection.
yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. It'll just we can get rid of that one. Whereas it'll benefit from the
Yeah,
other 2 from the expertise.
yeah. So we can take that out. I'm wondering if he really needs all 3 points in the hull plating.
Well, you know my argument with regards to all of the hull plating.
Mm-hmm.
I've literally only got 1 point in it on my main, as you well know. You've seen
Yeah.
the build. This is the famous build where I've only got something like 9 points in engineering, and I've maxed out on science and the rest intact. And in a destroyer, we'll pull 79% of the aggro in an ISA with virtually nothing in. I think I've got 1 point in hull plating,
Yeah.
1 point in damage control. So the reason for that is that when you do spend the points, you do get the opportunity to have an increased hull. There's a little tick box down there, and it's I mean, it's not the same as having the skill in it, but it's a little bit of a boost.
Yeah. See, the thing, I think he can get by with only the 1 point in the hull
Yeah.
plating. I don't
Yes.
think he'll notice too much of a difference in reality. Oh, that brings us up to 8. If we can get him up to 9 to 10, so we got 2 more points. We gotta fish out somewhere. That'll get him the ultimate with 1 point, if my math is correct.
I'd not 1 point. No. That's yeah, that.
Yeah, 25 is the ultimate with 1 point.
Yeah. But listen, there's a frenzy.
Yeah.
we got the full EPS wing. That's fine with that. You've knocked him back on the lieutenant commander. How much have you knocked back on the engineering?
Lieutenant Commander.
Sorry, Lieutenant. I do apologise.
Lieutenant, he's got 2 points in each of the engineering. So 2 points in hull restoration, 2 points in hull capacity. Huh.
Is hull healing still linked to Ox level?
With Ox to Sif it is, yes.
Yeah, so let's ditch one of those improved hull restorations.
Okay.
And you could probably, yeah.
And then, I'm hesitant to take out the weapon power.
Yeah, I am as well.
Because yeah.
But I've got no problem taking out defensive subsystem tuning for some reason.
Defensive subsystem tuning?
Yeah, Captain Engineering.
I don't know, because that's going to give him a bit of shields and a bit of Ox, which his Ox is going to affect the Ox to Sif.
But what's going to happen is, I'm not sure whether it works like this, but that's going to reduce the power in the defensive subsystems. But then, because the power was reduced with the warp core potential, it's going to give a bigger bonus on those subsystems.
No, because the bonus is based on what it's actually set at, not how much is in there. Yeah.
So there's no overall flat trap. Okay, right. I always thought I had that one wrong.
Yeah, so he's going to get the 10 to shields, whether you have, no matter how much power you have in shields.
How much is that, right?
He's going to get the 10 to it, because he's, ideally, if you're going for DPS, you've set the shields at 15. So this is going to give, what, 2 more points to the shield? Let's see, 4.8 points to the shield. So that's, yeah. And you want as much power as you can get into those shields. That's why I'm hesitant to take it off.
But I'm also thinking as well, in conjunction with Plasmonic Leech and Supremacy and the Drain.
What about shield restoration? We could take a point off of that.
Yeah, again, with the shield restoration, you could argue that if you're doing DPS and you want to measure it, you're going to be doing it in a Borg map, and having shields with the Borg, you might as well
exactly.
You might, something involving a stiff breeze and a bodily function. But,
oh dear.
But you also got to remember that you want to fly this ship in other scenarios. You're going to want to be able to jump into a CCA. You're going to want to be able to do a GGA. You're going to want to do and all this other stuff. So yeah, you can get it for DPS just to do it in this other match, but there are other instances where you'll rely on your shields.
Yeah.
So
what do you think, Kane? We're trying to figure out where we can pull an extra point. We've got him down to 1 hull restoration, 2 in improved in hull capacity. We put him down to 2 in shield restoration, 2 in shield cap. We took away the drain infection.
I'd say take it out of shield cap.
Take it out of shield cap?
Yeah.
So
because you think about it.
Go ahead.
Think about it, most of the STFs are Borg ones. And what's the one thing you pretty much never have in a Borg STF?
Yeah, but then that's what I said with the argument was that it's not only Borg STFs your one will be running. So there might be other instances where
I know, but we think about the majority.
Yeah, but no, what I'm saying is as well is you're right. You don't have shields, or you think you don't have shields in an ISA, But when you look at, I mean, we done an ISA a couple of nights ago. There was myself, there was Kirby, there was I think it was one of the new chaps that had just joined your TeamSpeak, Kirby.
Yeah.
And during that ISA, we looked at the damage pass, and the actual amount of damage that was taken by the ship was 130 odd thousand damage over the course of the ISA. The actual damage done to the ship was over 1 million. I think it was 1.1 million. And when you looked at the pass, there was 800,000 damage absorbed by the shields. But through the course of that match, I had virtually 0 shields. So something somewhere is allowing. I mean, although you're being shown there is no shields, because there is a recharge. I don't know how it's doing it, but both myself and one of the bug hunters both experienced that level of shield healing. We've got the passes to prove it. So whether it's something that's gone wrong in the game at the moment and it's giving incorrect figures, because what I am going to say is we did put it into another parser that's used by another league in game, and it didn't show the same level of healing. So whether there's been a change made to that parser and something's reported incorrectly, I don't know.
On the other side of that, the science thing, one of the unlocks is maximum shield capacity, which gives you plus 10 shield capacity skill, which is essentially the same as that second point.
Yep.
So with that argument, we could remove that point from maximum shield capacity and not lose anything.
Then let's not discuss it. Let's remove it right now.
Okay.
How many points that give us?
That gives us 10 available points.
Cool. Okay, put those into the...
Alright, so now the question is what to put him into. Do we want to give him defensive? Do we want to give him...
Well, we've removed a lot of, as we said, the tankier side, as people would put it, and a lot of people would perceive that as being the tankier, but trust us, we've not done that much to it.
Yeah.
So we could potentially put into
defensive maneuvering.
We don't have to put all in.
Okay.
There is also the option that we could give him the ability to be able to go, okay, I want to run a viable torpedo boat. Because maybe he might not want this.
True.
Now, shield pen.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Do we want to put shield pen?
I would say yes, but with penetration still broken at the moment.
Well,
this is not
on the other side, we need to find something to put points into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would give him all 3 on the defensive maneuvering, all 3 on the shield pen.
Yeah.
And
yeah, for those that haven't heard, penetration on weapons and skills and everything at the moment is backing in game as it should. So as a result, it's not giving the correct figures. But when they fix it, hopefully we'll see some nice mods.
Now, he doesn't have any hanger pets, so I don't see doing the coordination. Well, we're going to have to put 1 point into it. But I would say tactical readiness.
Yep, again, another one that's broken.
Yeah. And then the first point. And then the first point into defensive protocols.
Yeah, and the thing with the tactical readiness being broken, I'm not sure whether or not, or how it's been tested, or whether the person tested it did it without traits and without improvements on cooldowns, or whether they did it using all of the stuff that does the cooldowns and maybe a chronom officer and stopwatch going backwards or something. I would like to see the figures and the test of that one. And also, Cryptic to acknowledge if it is broken or not, because it is quite a major skill. Or a major ability.
Yes, it is. Alright, so I put for the engineering unlocks, I put battery expertise and maximum hull capacity. For the science unlocks, I'm going to leave the first one blank. He can choose, does not matter. Then maximum shield capacity, and that's it. And then for the tactical, of course, threat control, and projectile weapon crit D, and energy weapon Crit chance or crit D? I'm thinking crit
Oh,
D.
D.
I'm thinking crit D because he's got a lot of crit chance with the
Yeah.
vulnerability locators. Accuracy or defense? I'd
We've got 3 points in
go, yeah,
defense,
we do.
and accuracy is working as a rollover into crit so long as it is single
That is
target.
true.
So it will roll over when he's not got his scatter volley active. So
This is
there's a
true.
little bit of a damage increase from that.
Alright, accuracy it is. And then we get one choice here. Out of Focus Frenzy, we got Team Frenzy, Frenzied Assault, or Frenzied Reactions. So I
None
would
of them.
say.
None of them.
Ain says none of them. You say none of them.
Science
No,
ultimate.
I
Do
agree
they?
with Ain. I love the Science Ultimate, even on a tactical officer. It's
Well, we've already put him into
yeah,
frenzy.
I know, but it's because it was easy to do it that road, and it's probably the road that most people would expect to go down, and it's going to be less of a change for him. But yeah, we have done
Yeah,
testing, myself and another player who's been interviewed on this show, and we done the same tactical officer with the same build on the same ship using the same traits, and all we did was swap from tactical ultimate to science ultimate. We had no difference in DPS.
right.
It literally was within 2k DPS on. I think it was five runs in ISA and then 5 runs in ISA again with the different ultimate. So the only one
So,
that we did notice was down was the engineering ultimate gave, I think it was a good 30-40k DPS less.
so then the question becomes, do we want to give him Frenzied Assault or Team Frenzy? He gets a stacking damage bonus with each hit with
Team.
Frenzied Assault.
Yeah, but Team Frenzy, yeah, all right. It will help everyone else's DPS, but he wants to do his own DPS.
Right.
Now, I know it's a little bit selfish here. I wouldn't go with the team.
You go with Frenzied Assault.
Yeah, because his goal is to raise his own DPS, not his team's
Right.
DPS. Admittedly, by raising his team's DPS, he can make the match go a bit faster.
Right.
But if you're in a pug with players that are a little bit below average and they're not performing too well, that's not going to help you out. Where
Right.
the other one is.
Where Frenzied Assault is. Yeah, the
Yeah,
thing to
at least that's my
remember.
opinion. What do you think, Kane?
Ain?
Sorry, I was reading something.
I was going to say the thing to remember with Team Frenzy, it says allies firing on your marked foe will also gain stacks of frenzy and associated benefits. The thing to remember with this is you are considered an ally.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to improve your own DPS as well. Alright, now go ahead, Ain. What were
That's
your thoughts?
basically exactly what I was going to point out.
Yeah,
Yeah, but what is again? It comes down to what is that DPS gain for you being one of the allies versus the actual DPS gain from the other trait. And
yeah,
then the other thing then to take into consideration with it is most people would normally pop it at the same time as popping a fire at will. Your target is then random. You're not going to guarantee that you're going to be hitting the same target as somebody else who may have sorry, not fire at will, scatter volley, or some. You're not going to be hitting the same target because someone else around you has popped a scatter volley or a fire at will. So therefore, there is no locked target, and I think that's where you could fall over with that.
mm,
Well, I think,
Yeah, I guess.
I mean,
Yeah, I see
yeah,
that.
I when I done my tack, I would admit I hummed and hawed over it, and I didn't bother with Team Frenzy, and then at the end of the day, I went back and got it. So I ended up actually getting the extra points. So I had all of them in. But out of the two, if I had to choose for myself and my own personal tack, that's what I would choose.
Frenzied
Um,
Assault. Okay.
I would say leave it either or. We've explained the advantages and disadvantages of both, and leave it for Victor here to decide which one he wants to do, and he can let us know which one he does and how he finds it. I think it would be a nice way.
Alrighty, I can live with
I don't
that.
know if anyone else agrees. That way we can defer responsibility away from us.
You're terrible.
In fact,
Alright.
we'll open it up. I answered a postcard sent to PO Box Kirby at Kirby World.
Oh, Lord. No, edit Ed World. That
This
way
is
you
Ed's
know.
world.
Yep,
We
this
don't
is
have
Ed's
any
What is
post
Ames
boxes.
world? What are you talking about?
world.
No, we couldn't use that because it was too close to Wayne's World, and there's something about copyright in the movie with that.
You suck.
Alright, so we got ground skills. We always recommend top left, bottom right, carry high. And then he's got temporal operative and strategist for his specialization. Alright, so all that's
Right.
left.
One
Go ahead.
temporal operative. What damage over time has he got?
He doesn't.
Exactly. I think he would actually get more benefit from the intel tree on this build. I know it's
Now,
a bit of the old meta
yeah.
and some of the cooldowns and everything else, and people are going to say, "Oh, there's all this new stuff." But I have tried it when you're not using DOT stuff, and it's given a little bit of an increase. But again, it could be one of those ones. Try it and see.
Now
It could
here's
be
a
dependent
question.
on him.
What about doing so that you get the benefit? Because the biggest argument for temporal ops is, oh, the benefit of, which I can't remember offhand, of entropic rider. Entropic rider, entropic rider. Well, okay, yes, entropic rider is great. I'm not going to tell you it's not, but entropic rider is tier 1. You're still going to
And
get it if you set it as secondary.
yeah, and the other thing as well is putting the intel in. We've taken away some of the defensive of the ship. We've put in the defensive in the attack. We're going to also gain a benefit from having. Sorry, I'm thinking of pilot. No, I don't know about that. I'm thinking of attack pattern expertise. My brain's a little bit screwy thanks to some medication for
Yes.
pain.
It's okay.
It's rather nice medication as well.
Well, there are some with intelligence. There are some nice defensive benefits. I mean,
Yeah, and I
there's
also
what
like
is
the
it? Hide
intelligence fleet as well.
weakness. There's hide weakness. There's automated reinforcement. There's so there are some very nice defensive things for space. There's adaptive targeting. Um, those are with pets.
There's also all the
But
redundant
there's
sensors. There's the space flanking.
exactly redundant
And
sensors. That's where I was going.
if you can get this ship in the right position with this build that we've given you, and you are flanking in the right place on a power transformer in ISA, you're going to get virtually everything on flank. And that's what space flanking to 10% bonus
Yeah.
damage when hitting an enemy's rear arc. Yeah, that's nice. In conjunction with everything else, I just think it's slightly a bit better. Yeah, as you say, even having the other one as a secondary, but strategist is so good as a secondary.
It is. It is, and I'm not going to deny that. But I mean, the reality is a lot of the reason that people run strategist is for the cooldowns on the bridge officer abilities, and we've given him a build where he doesn't need that.
Yeah, so there is a potential there. But the other thing as well, the beauty of having the specialization trees is it's one of those ones that you can chop and change. It's not going to cost you anything, and you can see which one suits you best. As I say, because it depends on your playstyle. You might not be able to get into the flanking positions. You might be a pilot that can't find them. There's some very good videos out there that show you them on YouTube if you have a look. So yeah, mix and match them. Give them a try.
Yes, definitely.
But yeah, I do like the Intel temporal that you've just said. I quite like that idea.
Well, it's one that I've used on my Agent of Yesterday tune, and that tune has, or that character has a high parse of 170k. So it's not it's not without testing it myself that I've, come up with that recommendation. All right. And on to traits. Okay.
I like them.
So I like them too. So
I
he's
love the
got
traits.
some nice ones.
Love them.
Yes. I know, right? He's got a good day to die, which is amazing for attack.
Yes.
If you ever have problems getting your hull below 50% to be able to trigger go down fighting, this is awesome. He's got the cannon training.
The
He's
other,
got. Go ahead.
just to say about a good day to die is there is a very expensive trait that you have to get from a ship called Invincibility. Get it from the Zal cruiser, and a lot of TAC captains will use that because they get down to 0 hull, get a 0% GDF, not go up, and then have 8 seconds to heal themselves up. Yeah, so this, if you don't have that trait, means that you don't have to get yourself all the way down to 0 and run the risk of being the target and not being able to heal up and exploding. And as we say, if you're dead, you can't do deep.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm one of those. I have trouble positioning myself just right to take the warp core breach from the cube and get a low or zero hull GDF. I have a real hard time with that. Sometimes I can get into it. Sometimes I'm in the zone. Most of the time I'm not. So I'm still feeling the way in there. So if you have a hard time with that, this is a viable alternative. Although I don't know what the price is on it right now. I know it initially was very expensive. I haven't bought one yet. But yeah, very nice traits. He's got elusive, which is going to help
Yep.
with his defense.
Momentum in there as well.
Momentum, yep. I don't
Those
have a problem
those
with
two
any
are
of these.
nice together. They really
Yes,
are nice
they
together.
are.
The other one I like, inspirational leaders in there, which is good. He's also running operative to help with the crit chance.
Yes,
Fleet coordinator, another good skill to have there.
yes, it actually is. And self-modulating fire. I mean, these are all very nice skills. I don't have a problem with any of them. And he's even got efficient captain, which gives him a little bit to improve his power level.
Yep.
Alright, starship traits. Again, I don't see a problem with really any of these. He's got emergency weapon cycle, all hands on deck, supremacy, this will help with his power levels, target rich environment, and critical systems. So these are all
He's got
very
all the
good.
good ones.
He does. He very much does. And then for space reputation, yeah, he's got advanced targeting systems for the crit severity, precision for the crit chance. He's got energy refrequencer, which is going to heal him as he makes or does damage with his energy weapons. He's got the Tier 4 Nukara auxiliary power configuration offense. And he's using chrono capacitor array, which reduces the recharge time of your bridge officer abilities. So the only thing I would say is he doesn't really need that with the build that we gave him.
I think everyone would agree with me for
yeah,
enhanced armor penetration.
I agree.
yes,
Mm-hmm. Completely agree.
enhanced
Yeah, that'd be a
armor
nice boost on that.
penetration. Of course, there is another option you could do dealing with the debuffs. Where is it? Goodness gracious. It's tactical advantage. Damage resistance debuff based on its current health.
Yeah, again, it's
Yeah.
a test it one, bearing in mind that the enhanced armor pen does give you a pen bonus, which at the moment, as far
Yes.
as we know, is not stacking. So technically, that is not working too well on the space rep. So you might actually get a bit of bonus from Kirby's suggestion. But when they do actually finally fix pen, it'll be worth swapping it over and giving it a try.
Yep. Alright, so I put in tactical advantage and ground rep. Don't really see an issue with. And then the active reputation, I would put in there instead of the
I would put it in the
sensor
anti-time.
platform, I would put in the anti-time, yeah. Exactly. Because that's gonna be nice. Especially as we always say, hit your quantum singularity manipulation first, then hit your anti-time entanglement. It will do so much better. So, alright. And I believe we are done, sirs.
I'm happy.
I'm happy
I'm
too.
happy too. Alright. So remember, if you have a build you would like to submit, you can email any one of us in game. If you keep the okay, spit the words out, Kirby. If
Do we
you
need to reset you?
watch, not yet. If you keep watching to the end of the video, there will be all of our email address, our @ handles, on the last frame. There will also be a actual email address, Utopia Planitia show at gmail.com. All right, that's it, folks. Say goodbye, guys.
Bye.
All tonight's music is provided by AIM blowing through a hose pipe. Any similarity to any person living or dead is purely coincidental. Good night.
You asked it for it.